And it is halftime here at First Energy Stadium. Dan Labbe along with Tom Reed. The Browns leading 14-7. And Tom, a lot of credit goes to that Cleveland Browns defense. They got the first score, and they've been able to keep this high-powered Indianapolis offense in check so far.
They've been terrific. I mean, you can't ask for anything more. They score. Really, Luck's made a couple plays, but they basically have been either with his feet or just throwing it to his running back. They really haven't got anything going with their wide receivers. The Browns probably have about, I would say, 5 or 6 passes defense already. I mean, everyone's knocking down passes. Barkevius Mingo's played well, and for the first time in several weeks, they're really getting consistent pressure. Paul Kruger and Desmond Bryant have been really good. Sheard's been in there making some plays. One thing right at the end of the half, K'Wan Williams, who's been so valuable to this defense, went out with a hamstring injury. We'll see if he comes back. That forces Justin Gilbert into going to play.
Yeah, that obviously would change things immensely, and it would be an opportunity for Gilbert. We've seen the Browns kind of embrace that next man up throughout. Offensively, a lot of trouble at the quarterback position. But on that final drive, Brian Hoyer did have the overthrow, but a couple good throws in that drive as well.
One thing you want to mention before I even get to that is boy, we don't see a lot of Josh Gordon today, do we? You know, the game started, it was usual, it was a lot of Josh Gordon. I don't know if he's hurt or if they're just trying to – one of the things I've been a proponent of is I think they've been too heavy on Josh Gordon since he's been back. That last drive was a perfect example of spreading the ball around. That looked like the Browns from early in the season. Both running backs touch it. They spread it around. They get Taylor Gabriel involved, who we talked about in the pregame show. Hawkins makes a big catch. Hoyer has one dreadful throw where he missed Gabriel for a touchdown, but then comes right back and hits the rabbit for a big completion. That was a very good drive, and Brian Hoyer really needed that.
Yeah, and Jordan Cameron back noticed his impact. And one thing you can say about Hoyer and Cameron is they've shown that they have a good rapport together.
Yeah, he made at least a couple of nice catches there, and it's good to see the guy back. I mean, he's had to battle so much with the concussions, the shoulder injury earlier, and I'm sure he just wants to contribute, and he is so far.
Elsewhere offensively, the running game, a heavy dose of Terrence West early, but Isaiah Crowell comes in, gets the touchdown. Ideally, this is probably the vision the Browns have in mind for that running game, that two-headed monster of West and Crowell.
Yeah, and I think it took I thought it took Crow a little while maybe to loosen up that hip. Yeah. Early in the game, I didn't think he had his usual burst, and I was wondering if it was just going to be Terrence the rest of the day. But he comes in the second quarter, ran the ball better. That looked like vintage Crow there, if you could be a vintage Crow in 12 games or 13 games. But that 9-yard run for the touchdown, that was a classic Crow. Get through the line, get into the end zone.
You mentioned Mingo, a couple other guys to mention on the defense. Craig Robertson had the fumble recovery in the end zone, almost had a pick six there towards the end of the half. And Desmond Bryant having a nice day as well.
Desmond Bryant, I think, has been one of their better defenders up front for recent weeks. I think sometimes it goes a little bit under the radar, but I think he's been playing well. Almost not quite back to where he was a year ago at the beginning of the season, but he's been playing well. But, yeah, they've really gotten good pressure. I think Jim O'Neill and, of course, obviously Mike Patton deserve a lot of credit for the scheme that they've put up. They've been very aggressive. They've been very good press coverage, and they've been really forcing, Luck to make good throws. And to this point, so far, it's been advantage Browns defense.
Browns where they want to be. They have the lead at halftime. There's no quarterback controversy right now. A few people calling for Johnny Manziel, but at least Brian Hoyer did something there at the end of that half. So they're coming back with the guy who started the game. So certainly where they want to be. What do they need to do to finish this?
One of the negatives here in the half is they left 7-10 points on the field. One of the negatives for Hoyer obviously was throwing the ball into double coverage, intercepted in the end zone. Yeah, Jim Dre did get his hand on the ball, but that's a tight window to throw it in. And then Billy Cundiff has continued his kind of late-season fade. It was a big miss. That was a 10-point swing. We go from missing a field goal to the Colts go right down and score. So it's going to be an interesting week this week if they decide to make any kind of moves at the kicking game, because Billy Cundiff has really struggled.
Browns may be a little fortunate because of those things you said to be up 14-7, but they are up 14-7 against the Colts. 30 minutes of football left here at First Energy Stadium. For Tom Reed, I'm Dan Labbe.